Most of you do know, but if you don't, I was blocked by Ryan Reynolds. Yes. So Joe Rogan just entered the chat and he is team Justin Baldoni.
So tell me why Blake Lively thought she could play puppet master in Hollywood and get away with it?
And it's absolutely absurd and it's not going to work.
Because, baby, she had the whole industry fooled until Joe Rogan came stomping into this circus with a mic in one hand and zero patience in the other. He didn't just call her out, he obliterated her. Right there on air. No filter, no mercy, just straight up carnage. And Blake? She was not ready for it.
She's using it to assert control over Justin Baldoni, destroy his life. Essentially, it was destroying his family, his health, and everything else.
Because when Joe Rogan speaks, people don't just listen. They grab snacks, rewind the clip, and start rethinking everything they thought they knew. And this time, he turned his spotlight on Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds like they were the villains in Hollywood's newest scandal. This wasn't shade, it was a full-on verbal takedown. Public, brutal, and honestly, kinda deserved.
This is what you get. You're trying to fucking ruin a guy's livelihood by using the Me Too movement because they were trying to take over the movie. Yeah, they were trying to take over the movie and the whole franchise. He owned the franchise. They're fucked. The whole thing's crazy. They're fucked. And he's suing the New York Times.
Let's talk about the accusation that made jaws drop so hard, they're still echoing. Rogan claimed that Blake and Ryan didn't just want creative input on a film, they wanted control, total takeover. And when Justin Baldoni didn't play along, they allegedly reached for the dirtiest weapon in Hollywood's PR arsenal, the Me Too movement. Let that sink in. According to Rogan, Blake and Ryan tried to spin up a narrative that painted Justin as the problem, not because of actual harm, but because it would give them the upper hand in a power grab. In Rogan's words, they tried to use real, painful social justice issues as bargaining chips. Not to help victims, not to change the system, but to steal a franchise. And honestly, if even half of that is true, this isn't just a scandal. It's a full-blown manipulation campaign disguised as activism. And the internet is not buying what they're selling anymore. Rogan didn't tiptoe around it. He said they're using dirty tactics and dragging Justin's mental health, career, and name through the mud just to climb higher. Like it's all some twisted Hollywood game, but guess what? Rogan wasn't playing.
That it's a bunch of fabrication and lies, and then you see the control that she took over the movie, and I just don't see how any of these reporters are coming to that conclusion other than they are just trying to meet some type of agenda.
Rogan painted a version of Blake that we haven't seen before, and it's nothing like the red carpet darling. No, this Blake is allegedly controlling, ruthless, and strategic as hell. Not offering notes, not suggesting edits. He laid it out like she was orchestrating the whole thing from behind the scenes, wielding public opinion like a weapon, knowing exactly how to press the right headlines at the right time, and the worst part? It worked. For a while, she had people thinking Justin Baldoni was the problem. Quiet, respectful, soft-spoken Justin, suddenly painted as some egotistical, toxic roadblock to her vision, all while Blake stood in the spotlight looking polished and unbothered. But then Rogan showed up, and just like that, the story flipped.
Is that what it takes? That's what it takes. It's like Johnny Depp. Yeah. He said, all right. Yeah. He did for the boys. Exactly. You got to do it. You need real motherfuckers to be like, nah, man, I ain't going out like this. Yeah, especially a guy like that. It was like known as being like this really sweet, nice guy. Yeah.
This wasn't a tweet. This wasn't a rumor in a blind item or a cryptic Instagram caption. This was Joe Rogan, 14 million subscribers deep, with a mic louder than half of Hollywood, saying it out loud. He dragged Blake and Ryan by name, said they were destroying Justin's life with lies, accused them of hijacking the Me Too movement for personal gain, and didn't blink once. And when Rogan says something, people don't just listen, they spread it. They talk about it in group chats. They clip it for TikTok. They build entire threads breaking down every word. Suddenly, Blake's curated narrative in shambles. Because Rogan didn't just poke holes in her version of events, he tore the whole thing down in one episode. And trust me, the ripple effect hasn't even peaked yet.
And then he's like, all right, you know. He posted the receipts. He's like, oh, remember our text exchange? How about she told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding?
If you thought Joe Rogan was done after that first blow-up, oh honey, no. That wasn't the full story. That was the warning shot. Because once he got rolling, he started unraveling the whole twisted game Blake and Ryan allegedly tried to play behind the scenes. And trust me, it only gets darker from here. According to Rogan, this wasn't a one-time spat. It was a calculated campaign, a power grab disguised as concern, with Blake allegedly pulling strings and Ryan playing silent co-signer while Justin Baldoni's entire career was left hanging in the balance. And here's where it gets really sinister. Rogan made it clear, this wasn't just a fight over creative control. This was an attempted takedown.
Like, why they talk about ruining your reputation and Ryan Reynolds? Yeah, they fucked up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now, trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you are a key part of this. This is what you get, though.
Rogan didn't hold back on what this drama has done to Justin. He said it clearly. The pressure, the rumors, the career roadblocks, all of it has taken a toll on Justin's mental health. And while Blake and Ryan were busy perfecting their next PR rollout or dropping another witty tweet, Justin was reportedly being ripped apart behind closed doors. Let that sit for a minute. The industry loves to talk about mental health matters. Until it's inconvenient. Until it's someone who's not the headline star. Until it's a man quietly trying to defend himself while two media darlings flip the narrative. Justin wasn't just dealing with creative loss. According to Rogan, he was dealing with being gaslit on a global scale, struggling to defend himself in a system that's already designed to shut you down the second a bigger name decides you're in the way. And the silence from the people who caused the damage? Deafening. No statements, no explanations, just carefully curated Instagram stories, public appearances, and a mountain of NDAs keeping everything neat and quiet on their side. But that silence, it's starting to rot. People can smell it.
Don't need Blake Lively thing. Bro, Blake Lively, talk about ruining your reputation and Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, they fucked up. Ryan's trying to get out of it now, trying to get out of the lawsuit, and they're like, you are a key part of this. This is what you get, though. This is what you get. You're trying to fucking ruin a guy's livelihood?
Let's talk about the feminist facade, because this part had Rogan seeing red. Blake's entire image is built around empowerment, women's voices, using your platform for good. And yet here's Rogan laying out a version of events where she allegedly used one of the most important social movements in decades, not to empower, but to dominate. Not to protect survivors, but to manipulate a situation until she got her way. It's not just offensive, it's dangerous. Because when people twist a movement for personal gain, it chips away at the credibility of real stories, real pain, real justice. And let's not forget, the public wants to believe in stars like Blake. They want to root for her. They want to support a powerful woman in Hollywood. That's what makes this feel like such a betrayal. Rogan didn't just accuse her of being ruthless, he accused her of performing empowerment while orchestrating something harmful in the shadows. And once that accusation is out there, even if you deny it, it stains.
You own the franchise. They're fucked. The whole thing's crazy. They're fucked. And he's suing the New York Times, and he's got a great case in there, too.
Paying. But that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
It's like Johnny Depp.
Yeah. He's like, all right. Yeah.
Now, Ryan, let's not pretend he wasn't involved. Rogan made it very clear. Ryan wasn't just sitting on the sidelines, unaware. He was in the room. He knew the stakes. He saw what was happening. And what did he do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Rogan called him out for staying quiet, for letting Blake allegedly run the operation unchecked. No defense for Justin, no pause, just silence. Strategic, complicit silence, and that silence says more than any publicist ever could, because Ryan's whole brand is about being the good guy, the self-aware one, the guy who pokes fun at toxic Hollywood and keeps it real. Except now, Rogan's saying he wasn't just aware of the toxicity, he let it bloom. You can't have it both ways. You can't joke about how fake Hollywood is, then stand there while someone's career is being destroyed for clout. At some point, that silence turns into strategy. And Rogan just put that strategy on blast.
They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it, because everyone's just
Because everyone's scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list. Like, don't, they're the queen. Like, this.
Here's what nobody wants to admit. Once Rogan said it out loud, the illusion started to fall apart. Because the moment someone that big calls it what it is, the gaslighting, the spin, the silence, it gives everyone else permission to start asking questions too. The fans, the press, the insiders who've stayed quiet for too long. Rogan flipped the spotlight, and now Blake and Ryan are standing in it. No script, no PR team speaking for them. Just two very famous people who might have finally pushed too far and got caught. And if you think that's the end, oh sweetie, we haven't even gotten to the part where Hollywood starts choosing sides.
Van City Reynolds, who has blocked me, so I can still view his stuff. I just can't post anything. You see, guys, it's all grayed out. look at that. My feelings are really hurt.
You know that moment after someone drops a truth bomb in a room and suddenly no one can look each other in the eye? That's exactly what's happening in Hollywood right now. Joe Rogan said what he said, and now the industry's collective reaction is like a little too quiet. No outrage, no denial, no dramatic legal letters being waved around for the press. Just this uncomfortable, loaded silence that says more than any carefully worded statement ever could. Because here's the thing. If what Rogan accused Blake and Ryan of is so outrageous, so wrong, so completely off base, why isn't anyone pushing back? Where's the media cleanup? Where's the damage control? Exactly.
He's like, oh, remember our tech exchange? How about she told him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding?
You'd think a story this juicy, this messy, this personal, with names as big as Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, would be everywhere. Front page of every tabloid, pop culture TikToks breaking it down in 60-second clips. Talk shows doing smug little monologues about Hollywood hypocrisy. But nope, the headlines? Crickets. It's almost like the story's being deliberately ignored, like someone hit pause on the narrative and locked the remote in a drawer. And let's be real, that doesn't happen by accident. Not when Rogan's platform is this massive. Not when the allegations are this serious. Not when the internet is already whispering. It's giving media blackout. It's giving PR strings being pulled hard behind the scenes. It's giving, we don't talk about that here. And when the media goes silent, that's when the public starts making noise.
Him to come into the dressing room while she was breastfeeding. And then part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth.
At first, people were hesitant. Blake and Ryan have been in the public's good graces for years. They're the meme couple, the Halloween costume inspo, the red carpet royalty. But then Rogan spoke, and suddenly the internet started scrolling. Back through old interviews, old quotes, little moments that didn't seem shady at the time, but now feel off. And the vibe shift is real. People are asking the uncomfortable questions, like why did Blake get so much creative control on a project she wasn't originally leading? Why did Ryan, the king of snarky transparency, go radio silent when things started unraveling? Why is Justin Baldoni, who's been a mental health advocate and soft-spoken presence in Hollywood for years, suddenly being labeled difficult, right when he stood up for himself? The math isn't mathing anymore, and fans, the real ones, not the casual scrollers, they can smell the spin. They know when something's being suppressed. And once the public starts digging, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle.
And then part of the complaint was that he came into the dressing room while I was breastfeeding. Like, you literally have a text exchange back and forth. They just never thought that anybody was going to come out with the receipts.
Because no one's ever done it, because everyone's just
Because everyone's scared.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Reynolds A-list, Blake Lively A-list.
Blake and Ryan have built careers on charm, on being relatable, likable, safe. But when the smoke from Rogan's mic drop started to settle, that brand started showing stress fractures in real time. Suddenly, Blake's clever little captions read colder. Ryan's sarcasm feels deflective, not funny. Their silence, less classy restraint, more guilty discomfort. This isn't just about the movie. It's about the narrative they've spent years building and how fast it's crumbling. Now that someone finally pulled back the curtain. And don't get it twisted, Hollywood is watching. Because if a couple this polished, this beloved, can start slipping, everyone else is one exposed voice note away from the same fate. Rogan didn't. Just spill tea. He cracked the dam. And now the pressure's on.
I was blocked by Ryan Reynolds. Yes. Predator Pool himself blocked me. I don't know when he blocked me. I don't know if it's when I exposed on X what happened with his daughter in Deadpool and that abhorrent things that they made her do.
You know what happens when the press stays quiet, but everyone in the industry is talking? You get whispers, you get anonymous insider quotes. You get cryptic tweets from B-list actors with just enough relevance to be dangerous. And those whispers? They're already starting. You've got quiet confirmations. Little nods that this isn't the first time Blake's allegedly pulled rank behind the scenes. You've got rumors of other creatives being iced out, other voices being drowned out, other reputations quietly suffering while Blake and Ryan kept their crowns polished and their scandals buried. The industry knows how this game works. And now that someone finally said it out loud, the fear isn't about what's been exposed. It's about what's next. Because once the story breaks containment, when more people start speaking up, when the whispers turn into testimonies, when Rogan isn't the only one with receipts, this isn't just going to be about one movie. It's going to be a case study in how power, perception, and silence operate in Hollywood. And Blake and Ryan, they might be the headline, but they're also the warning shot.
It's whiny, it's bratty, and it needs to end. So to that, I say, thank you to Blake Lively.
At this point, Blake and Ryan aren't just dodging backlash, they're watching their brand balance on a ledge. Because what Joe Rogan exposed wasn't just a shady moment or a controversial take, it was a possible career-shifting accusation that left their entire image bruised, if not bleeding, and now it's all about control. Control of the story, control of the damage, control of the fallout. But the problem is, it might be too late for control.
This is an amazing support that Justin is now getting from Joe Rogan on this case, and it's going to continue to get ugly as more things come out.
The silence was cute for about a week, but now, behind the velvet curtains of Hollywood PR teams, it's chaos. Quiet chaos, much the worst kind. Sources close to the situation, because of course they are, say there are lawyers on speed dial, NDAs being reviewed, alleged settlement conversations being floated, because when someone like Joe Rogan publicly says you tried to weaponize a movement for personal gain, you don't just shake that off. You either deny it loud, or you bunker down and start paying people to forget. And so far, it looks like we're watching the latter. Legal threats are being whispered, not shouted. PR teams are advising caution. Brand partners are nervously watching the algorithm, hoping their names don't get dragged into the undertow. No one wants to be next. But everyone knows, if one more insider speaks up, it's a wrap.
She told the composer that she brought in when the other one was fired that she wanted let go, allegedly because Taylor Swift wanted him let go.
Let's be real. Blake and Ryan built an empire off of being safe. They weren't controversial. They weren't messy. They were the aspirational, we're just like you but hotter couple. They weren't supposed to be in scandals like this. That's what made them marketable. But scandals like this? Allegations this serious? There's no quirky tweet that fixes that. No matching couple costume that makes it disappear. Not when trust is broken. Not when people start realizing that the persona might have been just that, a persona. You can't promote feminism while allegedly silencing a man who said no to your power grab. You can't talk about mental health awareness while destroying someone's behind the scenes. You can't be everyone's favorite couple if the foundation was built on quiet manipulation and weaponized PR. The brand is bleeding, and whether they patch it up or let it collapse, the damage is done.
He basically called him and said that she has moved into the role of taking control of the movie and finishing it and doing the whole movie.
In the end, this whole thing comes down to one brutal truth. Hollywood doesn't care what you did. It cares what people believe you did, and whether or not you can still sell tickets afterward. But Rogan shifted the public's belief. He cracked the illusion. And now, Blake and Ryan are facing something they've never had to navigate before: doubt. Doubt from fans. Doubt from peers. Doubt from people who used to eat up every adorable red carpet moment. Now side-eyeing their every move, and in a city that thrives on perception, doubt is deadly. This could have been a quiet internal power struggle. But once Joe Rogan spoke, it became a public reckoning. And no matter how much money gets thrown at silencing it, the internet never really forgets. The question now isn't whether Blake and Ryan will survive the scandal, it's how much of themselves they'll lose trying to cover it up. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so you'll be the first to get notified about the latest drama.